Hello and welcome to another edition of Confessions of an English Teacher. I'm your host Gideon from Let Them Talk TV. And as English teachers, a lot of what we do is pretty ordinary. Same grammar, same vocabulary, same idioms, day in, day out. And of course, we like sometimes to spice things up, to make things seem more exciting than they really are. Maybe we tease the students about their English, just in a harmless way, just for fun. But here's the thing. Something happened to make me realise that it's not always harmless. Have a look at this comment I got from the base on the base in Italy, and he put this on the video I made called Don't Speak Like a Native. Check out the video up here if you haven't seen it yet.
It's a long comment, very interesting, and I'll read just a part of it to you. He talks about the nightmare of minimal pairs. Now, minimal pairs are two words that sound very close, but there is a small phonetic difference. He says, there are many, many words that are quite difficult to pronounce. That schwa, nightmare, that dead, dad, course, curse, fiasco, or bitch, beach, sheet, shit, not to mention can't, and a word I won't say. And if we talk about rude words, let me also add sick, sex, fork, and something similar, peace, piss, etc., etc. And he finishes by saying, I have to accept that I will never sound like a native.
And it's not the first time I've seen such comments. And also I've had students personally tell me that they avoid saying certain words because they are afraid that if they mispronounce them, they will upset people, they will offend people by accidentally swearing, and they'll make fools of themselves. So I wanted to be completely clear about this on this video, that you are not accidentally swearing. You never have and you never will. When an English teacher tells you that if you mispronounce certain words, you will shock or offend the listener, it's a lie. Maybe we didn't mean any harm by it, but it's a lie just the same. And we say it because we think it's funny, okay? But it's not true. It's never been true. Let me quash this nonsense. You will never be misunderstood. Nobody will be offended. Don't worry, you will not upset anyone. It's all about context. Let me explain. Take the word can. In where I come from, London, I say can in the affirmative and can't for the negative. But there are lots of accents in the English speaking world and lots of ways to pronounce the C-A-N apostrophe T. Okay, it can be pronounced in many different ways. Can't, can't. And in some English dialects, it's pronounced the same or very close to the naughty word. Okay, and if you're in London and you say to someone, you know, I can't find my Oyster card. The Oyster card is the card you use to get around on public transport. Nobody is going to be offended. Nobody is going to be insulted. Nobody is going to think that you swore. Nobody is even going to notice that you said a bad word. They will probably reply by saying, oh, have you looked in your top pocket? The ordinary man or woman on the street is not looking out for minuscule vowel changes. We interpret the sentence as a whole. It's only English teachers who are so deep inside the sounds rather than the communication. It's only English teachers who are listening and interpreting every phoneme that comes out of your mouth, because that's what we're doing day in, day out. So we kind of get obsessed by it. But other people won't notice it. But I do realise now that this can do some harm. And let's look at some more examples. If I say I spent the weekend at the beach. We know that you didn't spend a weekend with a female dog or a nasty woman. I say beach, but in Australian English it sounds closer to beach anyway, to us Londoners. Maybe that's not quite right. Don't have any Australians here to prove it. But we don't think Australians have picnics on beaches all the time. And if I say your girlfriend is a beach, you know that I don't mean that she's a stretch of coastal sand somewhere south of Benidorm. Context is everything. If I say you are a stupid can't, I can't believe what a can't you are, the native speaker will know exactly what you mean. They will know that they are being insulted. Everything is context. If I say I drank 6 cups of coffee a day, people will say, hey man, you're drinking too much coffee. You should cut down. Nobody thinks you're talking about sex. No, don't worry about it. Sex, who cares? Say whatever you want. Maybe an English teacher will care, but ask any person on the 82 bus to North Finchley and they won't notice it. They won't think so. Just to prove my point, there are many English words that contain rude words within them, but we don't get embarrassed or start giggling childishly every time we hear them. For example, country. I live in the country. I love the countryside. Normal word, you agree, don't you? There's nothing rude about that word. Countryside means countryside, and we use it all the time. It's normal. No one is ever going to get offended or think it's rude if you say countryside. Having said that, it is true that William Shakespeare toyed with the word in Hamlet. He said, do you think I meant country matters? It's Act 2, Scene 2. Just Google it if you want more information about what he said. But he had a very fecund imagination, that Shakespeare fellow. Interestingly, there is a difference between American English and British English with some words. American English tends to be more conservative and more prudish than British English. Maybe because some of the first settlers were Puritans. Yes, those refugees on the Mayflower didn't like naughty words. So in American English, some words that contained rude syllables were changed. For example, cockerel in British English. Here's a picture. In American English, they didn't like saying cock, so they changed it to rooster. That's why it's different in British English and American English. Cockerel in British English, rooster, American English. Same with cockroach in British English, roach in American English. Titbit in British English. A titbit is an interesting piece of gossip. So, for example, I overheard their conversation and heard a juicy tidbit about the princess. In American English, the word is tidbit. The Puritans didn't want to start a word with tit, so they changed it. And you know what? Sometimes we swear and we don't even know it. Do you know the expression, for crying out loud? Oh, for crying out loud. You say that when you're angry about something, and I'm sure many of you know that expression. For crying out loud, why do you have to be so rude? For crying out loud, they've revoked my freedom pass. However, what you might not know is that for crying out loud is just a way of unswearing. Is that a word? To unswear? Let's Google it. Oh, it is. Anyway, originally you would use the F word and then regret it. So you would pretend you were saying something else by finishing the sentence with crying out loud. So, for example, you got me a strawberry donut when I asked for a chocolate one. For crying out loud. Okay, you see what I mean? And if I say, hey, are you for coffee? Are you for coffee? You know I'm just offering you coffee. No one will notice that there's a rude word in there. Try it if you don't believe me. However, if I say, are you for coffee? People will notice. It's how you say it. Okay? It's the context and how you say something. And yeah, whatever. Ask contains the word arse in it. So what? So does Arsenal and arson and arsenic. Shiitake is a mushroom. Pistachio, episode, and lots of names. Lots of names. We never think that they're rude. Sexton Blake, Immanuel Kant, Camille Pissarro, Pussy Galore, Arsene Wenger, Terry Pratchett. I'm sure you can name more. Okay. And what about the word prick? Okay. For most people, it's just a sharp point making a small hole. I pricked my finger on a rose bush. It's a normal, everyday word. The second meaning refers to the male member. But you can use it without worry with the first meaning, without the fear of being misunderstood. And it's used every day, just like that. Coming back to names, we have Dick Van Dyke, Dick Tracy, Dick Turpin, or Johnson.
We believes in nothing, Lebowski, nothing.
And tomorrow we come back and we cut off your Johnson.
Excuse me?
A blue tit is a type of bird. Uranus is the 8th planet in the solar system. A bang is an explosion, most of the time. So this is all crazy. Are we kids or what? Well, yes, I guess deep inside we are, myself included, a pestilent and hoary sinner. Inside this unkempt, middle-aged man with a vacant expression and a dodgy haircut is a spotty teenager loitering in the playground behind the bike sheds and giggling with his classmates at the sounds of naughty words. That's fine. I hold up my hands. I'm guilty. And but by the way, yes, it is of course important to improve your pronunciation and speak clearly. I'm not saying that in this video. Yeah, definitely work on your pronunciation. Of course, you should do that. However, what I'm saying is that if you are learning English, you should be free to say whatever you want without the fear of ridicule. And so carry on speaking without fear and you'll be okay. And what about you? Were you ever worried that you'd said a bad word by mistake? Let us know in the comments section. And have you noticed I got through this whole video without swearing once? Tune in next time for more Confessions of an English Teacher. Have a good day. Bing!